Hello all, let's see. Yeah, good.
Here's we have a fox in the hen house.
Oh, yes. Good morning, all.
What's
Morning.
new? Pussycat? What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
How's the weather in Hawaii?
Dry. We're having a drought.
Oh, so are we.
Yeah, but it's unusual for San Diego. It's very unusual for Hawaii.
Well, you got oceans all around you.
Yep.
Water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. I hope somebody reminds me to save the transcript for Alice. I don't always remember that. I know she could do it herself, but I don't think I've gotten there yet. I've got that sea cleaner thing going and it's got a pop-up now that won't go away. And it's the first time I've had a pop-up that won't go away if I either click on it or try to close it or click on something else. And I don't like that. I can't move it.
Is it from Sea Cleaner?
I believe so.
You could go to the task manager and just end the process.
All right, let me see about that. Let's see, I got to get out of exit full screen so I could.
Control Alt Delete.
Well, oh yeah, that's right. Control Alt Delete. Task manager, there we go. And I came right back to where I was. Well, I hit Control Alt Delete and it just goes away.
Can you see the Windows taskbar at the bottom of your screen?
Yes, I can see that.
And over toward the right end, do you see the task manager running? Should be a little icon that looks like a rectangle, maybe has some green toward the bottom if it's busy.
It says fully charged. I think that's the battery.
No, this is a rectangle.
So is the battery. 3 new notifications. I think that's a notification bar. That also is a rectangle.
I think you know what this one looks like. If you don't see it, you could right-click an empty area of the taskbar, right-click, get a context menu. There should be a place to say to start the task manager. Maybe it's not running right now.
Well, Control Alt Delete showed me taskbar label and I clicked on it and then it just went away.
Okay, if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine, Stan.
I'm trying.
What? You say when you clicked on Task Manager, it went away after you did Control Alt Delete?
I did Control Alt Delete and I got a menu. And the menu included Task Manager. And I clicked on Task Manager, and then I was right back where I started on the desktop. Everything, the Zoom window was there, and the C cleaner was there, and everything was as it was before. Nothing came up for Task Manager. And I don't see the rectangle Saul is looking for.
The task manager rectangle has a little icon in the middle of it that looks like a computer screen. So if you don't see that as the last thing on your task, then task manager is not running.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it is, and it just doesn't show up in the notification area.
Well, I got the notification area.
So can you right click on an area of the taskbar over near there, but not over an icon, an empty area, right click and see if you get a context menu that gives you an option to click on the task manager
Yes.
to launch it.
I see that, and I left click on that. And it just goes away, and I'm right back where I started from.
Well, I understand the context menu will go away, but if you don't see it show up in the notification area, it could be that the notification area is set to not show it. So then you'd have to right click again in that area and go to the taskbar properties or something, I think it's called. I'm not on a Windows computer right now, so I don't remember, but there's something about the properties or settings of the taskbar.
Can I share my screen?
You could try.
I don't think you can share your taskbar.
No, but he could show it, maybe show his desktop.
Yeah.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, we'll fix that. Try it again.
Okay, and I'm going to share my desktop. All right. It looks like I'm only sharing my Foxy.
No, we can see your desktop.
Oh, you can.
And we can see the CC cleaner notice.
All right, now then, I'm going down to an empty place. All right, I'll do Control Alt Delete.
Oh, I see the task manager right there. It's running. It's the thing with the light blue coloring in it. It's like the right next to the up caret, just to the right of the up caret.
This one?
Yeah, that one there.
CPU, okay.
Yeah. So can you launch that so it comes up?
I left click?
You could either try left clicking. If that doesn't work, you could right click and select restore.
Restore.
Yes.
There it is.
And now you could scroll down alphabetically to C cleaner and you could ask it to end it, right? You see C cleaner? I see it just below calculator. You don't have to keep monkeying around. I can see it. You can see it. Okay.
All right. C cleaner. Yes.
So right click that, click end task, first choice.
Oh, okay.
Now you can minimize the task manager and you're good. And you can stop sharing your screen.
All right. All right. Back to you, Hank. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I think we all learned something.
We all learned a bit.
And you got it done before the start of the meeting. So it's good.
Yes. Thank you for opening it up early, Hank.
Okay, Hank, it's all yours. I think. Ah,
We're up to 9 participants at 7:28. Rats. Hello?
So just to let Hank know, I muted him while he was on the phone, so he needs to unmute himself.
While we're waiting, I have a quick question regarding the minutes. Did everybody get them? Because I didn't get any replies, which was nice, but I want to make sure people got them.
Yeah,
I,
they're on the website.
Okay, great, thanks.
yeah,
Oh,
I
good. I
don't
didn't-
recall receiving them.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Well,
I
let me
don't
know
either.
because I went out to the Hank's, group email. So let me know because I sent them out Sunday after the board meeting, Sunday or Monday.
Hmm.
I will look for Alice. $49. No, that's.
I don't think our email address routine is as efficient as it should be. I used the one that Hank set up with the -2.
I didn't get them.
No, I didn't either.
All right, I'll when I'm not home, but when I get home Monday, I'll resend them. I'll just use another group email.
I think in some of my emails, I have included in the body of my message a list of the primary email addresses for the board.
That's
I
true,
don't-
but I thought that Hank had updated the one that you use the -2, the Google one. So I thought that was supposed to work also.
Yeah,
I'll send it to
Anybody
yours.
is
I'll
talking-
scan
if
it to
anybody-
your list.
If anybody is talking to me, don't bother. I'm doing something else right now.
okay.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
talk
I'll-
among ourselves.
I'll just talk to Alice and say I agree with you that we're supposed to probably use that Google email, that Gmail address.
But it sounds like half the people didn't get it. So I'll go check out the addresses that's on it. I can't see the addresses that are on that Google one, but I can.
I understand. But what you could do is you could just send a test email to that address and see if you get it.
Oh, see, I always do. I do that every time. I always get it. So there's no problem there.
Interesting.
That's why I can't tell if everybody else gets it because that's my test. If I get it, I think it's gone to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it partly works.
I'll resend it to the other list.
There's Will.
Dan has his hand raised.
Yeah, hello, Dan. What do you need?
Unmute.
Unmuted. I mean, he's muted. Hold on. I'll ask him to unmute now. You're still muted, Dan, if you're trying to say something.
He left to get a coffee.
There we go. What can we do for you, Dan?
Doesn't appear to be there.
Perhaps he needs to choose the correct microphone.
Well, I'm going to put Dan's hand down. He can put it back up again if he wants to say something. Man, I didn't realize I could put people's hands down when they raised them. That's
Wow.
Wow.
The joys of power.
Or at least Zoom.
You get it where you can, you know.
Well, we're up to 19 people. Anyone have any Zoom problems they want to bring up before we get into the presentation today? Will?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. You know, in our various email exchanges earlier, somehow the invitation got lost in there, and I went back to try to retrieve one from way back, and it didn't work. So I need to update it.
Your audio is still not very good. Have you hardwired yourself?
I don't think it's my internet. I think it may be my microphone. I meant to try a new microphone. Is it still breaking up?
It's better when you lean in.
Okay, maybe it's just I'm holding the microphone too far away.
It seems to be working well enough that I can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can.
I'll try a new microphone and see if that works.
It's pretty good right now.
Okay.
The problem is my old ears.
Yeah, I got my Bluetooth working on my hearing aid, but quite often I have to, in order to synchronize the Bluetooth to the computer, I have to forget the device and then search for new Bluetooth and reinstall it every time. Almost every time I have to go through that procedure. So it's not very convenient, but when it works, the sound quality is excellent. So I try to go through the drill.
I was just wondering, I've got a recent update on my Zoom. I'm up to 5.10.3 on my PC.
Ooh,
And I was just wondering if people were paying attention and keeping their Zoom updated.
mine's 5.10.1. So I didn't realize they'd brought something else up.
Yeah, go check mine.
There wasn't anything exciting that got done in the last few revs.
I'd like to make a comment about the presentation today. I didn't realize that Windows 10 has this wonderful Paint 3D program, which is an update of the old Paint. And I took a look at it and I was amazed at how powerful it is. So I sent a note to Hank and said, you know, we really ought to show that as one of our Saturday presentations. So you're going to do that today, aren't you, Hank?
Yes, I am. And on that subject, for anyone who wants to start it, you know that Paint, the old two-dimensional Paint, was listed within Windows. If you have to click on Windows accessories and then you go down and find Paint. But Paint 3D is listed as a regular program under P for Papa for Paint 3D. So if anyone wants to turn it on, that's where you have to find it.
I had never looked at it before, and I was amazed at how powerful it is. It's right up there along with some of the better graphic manipulators, editors, manipulators. I just needed it for some simple thing where I'm trying to, again, I'm trying to be able to put a red circle around somebody's face and an arrow pointing to it that I see often on social media. And I hadn't been able to do it with other programs. I guess I didn't know how to run them. But this Paint 3D is wonderful and makes it so easy to do. And I can show that after the presentation and show you how I did it. It takes about 3 minutes. But it's a very
Do you have
powerful
some-
program, and if you haven't looked at it, take a look at it. It's great. Hank's going to show it today.
Jim Fagacci, do you have something you want to say before we start the program?
Yes, I'm just curious about Windows 11, if everyone has updated. I have not updated to Windows 11. Has anyone updated, and are there any problems?
Hold your hand if you've updated to 11, please. Wave your hand, David.
Yeah, I've half
All I
updated.
see.
Okay, I've half updated in that my desktop PC is still Windows 10, but I have a new laptop. It came with 11 and I just left it at 11. And so far it's been working just fine. I still get a little bit confused because of course they move things around and things don't work in the same place. But so far I've had no problems with the programs that I've been using. I mean, I've got my regular Windows Office tools, and I have some tools for my little microprocessors that I work with and everything. So far it seemed fine, although I have heard there are some programs that need to get updated, and I suspect it's probably things like games and stuff that get deep into the internals of Windows that rely on things that are sort of buried there that they may have changed, and the game developers need to update their games to make use of the new things. But so far I've been fine.
Thank you.
I would ask, is there any advantage to it over 10?
Eventually, the 10 will stop getting updates. That's the lever they have over us, but that won't come down for another year or so.
Well, it is 7:41 here in Hawaii, and I think it's time to start the scheduled presentation of Paint 3D.
May I ask a question, please, to Saul? Is there anything on Mac that's comparable to Paint?
I don't believe directly, but maybe I can send you some information later.
Thanks.
Pat has her hand up.
You get the answer to your question, Sammy?
Yes, thank you.
Patricia?
Yeah, I might have missed it because I just got here. But when you were talking about Windows 11, I have that on my laptop, which I never use. Well, I have 10 on my laptop. So I was wondering, are they going to do free upgrades? So there's no sense in me learning 10 if I should upgrade to 11. Can you do that now, or how does that work? Or is that a Q&A question that we should do later?
David?
Yeah, from what I understand, when you on your laptop, depending on whatever machine, depending on what version of CPU processor you have, it's either available and you can do it for free, or it's not available because you have too old of a processor. The Windows 11 requires you have like about a generation like 9, 10, or 11 of the Intel line, and I'm not sure what it is for the AMD line, but if you can do that, then although the feel, the things you can do are pretty much the same, it's the presentation of things that look a little bit different under 11. If you're just getting used to Windows, might as well get used to the one that's going to be around longer, which would be 11.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Okay, I'll check all that out. Thank you.
Yeah, but
Oh,
so first try just doing your do your regular updates, and if it is available, it should say that the Windows 11 is available, or if it's not, it says, your processor is not eligible to be upgraded.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
All right, I think it's time to start the presentation for the morning, and I'm now going to share my screen. Whoops, wait a minute. Need to mute everybody.
Dan has his hand up.
Again?
I was on a different screen. What, do you have something you want to do before the presentation, Dan? You're muted, Dan.
I had great difficulty trying to sign in this morning, and I used another computer which didn't have a microphone on it, so I apologize for that. And the other thing I wanted to add was Patricia was asking about Windows 10 and Windows 11. I got tangled up in Windows 10 this week. I won't get into that, but anyway, it tells you if your processor is capable of running Windows 11. And it kind of indicates that they're going to shut off changes to Windows 10 in next month. So that could kind of leave you hanging. I have difficulty with Windows updates anyway, but that's another story.
What's going to get shut off next month?
Service for Windows 10.
I think Ross might have a comment on this.
Yeah, Ross?
I'm looking it up, but it is not next month, no. What will happen? Okay, end of life. Okay, so it says that a later version of Windows 10, which is 21H1, will be supported through December 13th of 22. They have a tendency to extend those. I do see that it's also the end of life as far as any support for Windows 10 is October 2025. So it's not a concern at this time that says you have to upgrade to Windows 10. It might be best to wait until at that point when you're getting a new computer and say it's going to come with 11. It's very difficult to order one with 10 on it. It can, but you have to go back to the manufacturer directly and say, I want it this way. As far as the advantages, I don't see any big advantage to Windows 11 at this point. And there are some hardware hurdles as far as what the computer has to have in it before Microsoft will support it to Windows 11. And it has a lot to do with security. They're trying to make sure that the computer can't be easily compromised. And you may not have that hardware in your computer. There are software workarounds on a lot of those items, but I don't see anything right now that says I have to go to 11. So I'm going to approach those issues and fix those.
Thank you, Ross.
For a lot of people, if you will probably be getting a new computer before 2025. And so a lot of people, it's just fine to wait until you get your new computer.
Yeah, 2025. I don't plan that far ahead because I'm going to be 90 in July. Okay. I'm going to mute everybody. And then I am going to share my screen. And then I am going to start the presentation.
Can you just be sure you ask us if we can see it well before you get too far into it?
Yeah, I'm sharing now, I think. Let me see.
You are.
Okay, and I think I've gotten rid of the black spots.
Yeah.
Rectangles.
It's looking pretty good. You might want to turn off the auto play for the next item there. Kind of in the middle, that little slider.
Yeah.
This presentation is a lot more
Remove.
complex than probably anyone would want to do, but it shows the power of.
Autoplay is on. There it is. Now it's off.
Thank you.
All right, here we go, everybody.
And if you can make it a little bigger, maybe hit the T for theater mode or something.
Kevin here. Today, I want to show you how you can use Paint 3D to create 3D objects and also scenes. If you've never heard of it before, chances are you already have it. Paint 3D comes for free together with Windows 10. It's kind of like the program Blender, but it's a lot more simplistic. And simplicity isn't necessarily a bad thing. Anyone can sit down and you can start creating. In fact, I was able to create this 3D scene with these chocolate chip cookies sitting on the baking sheet. And yes, there is now Kevin Cookie Company official branded milk now available. Once you're done creating your 3D object, you can print out a 3D object. You can create a video of it. You can even bring it into Microsoft PowerPoint so you can add a little bit of 3D rotation between slides. I'm going to show you how you can do all of this step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know all of the fundamentals of using Paint 3D. All right, well, let's jump on the PC and let's start creating. Here I am now on my PC, and to launch Paint 3D, head down to your taskbar and simply type in Paint 3D. You should see it appear as the best match. Let's click on that. This drops us into Paint 3D, and by default, we land on the welcome screen. Up here in the top left-hand corner, we can kick off our very own new project, and in a moment, we'll do this. Down below, you can open up an existing project, or you can open 2D or 3D files. There are some tutorial videos. You can also browse a 3D collection, but once again, we want to start creating, so let's go to the top left-hand corner and click on New. This drops us into a blank canvas in Paint 3D. Across the top, I have categories of all of these different tools. And throughout this tutorial, we're going to go through each one of these to see what they do. Each one of these different categories has some associated tools over in the pane on the right-hand side. And once again, as we go through these different categories, you'll start to see what these different tools are and when you can use them. If you want to follow along in this tutorial today, feel free to do that. It's going to be step by step, so you can also create the same scene. I'm going to create the scene that we saw in the introduction. I'm going to create a baking sheet with some cookies and then also the container of milk. So if you want to follow along, you'll be able to create that exact same scene. First, I want to start by creating my cookie, and I want to use a reference picture of a cookie to help me create this 3D object. I'm going to move Paint 3D over to the side, and here on my desktop, I have a basic picture of a cookie. It's just a JPEG, and I'll drag it over into Paint 3D. You can find any photo of a cookie online, and you can use that as a reference photo. The only reason I brought this in is I want to make sure I get some of the texturing and also the coloring as I build out my 3D cookie. Now that I have a reference photo in Paint 3D, I want to start creating a 3D shape, or basically a 3D cookie. So if I look up here at all of these different controls, there's one called 3D shapes. Let's click on this one. When I click on 3D shapes, this opens up a pane over on the right-hand side where I have all sorts of different shapes that I can use. There's a 3D library. I could also use 3D doodling. So here I could draw out my own 3D shape. And here I see some preset 3D objects that I can just insert. Down below, there are also some 3D models. And at the very bottom, I can also set a color. Now I want to insert an object that looks like a cookie, but first I want to select a color that kind of looks like a chocolate chip cookie. Right down here, I have an eyedropper. I'll click on that and then I'll take it over to my reference photo. And right here in the middle, this brown is really like a chocolate chip cookie. So I'll select that one. And here now you see the brown color is set. Now up above, once again, I have all these 3D objects, and this one right here called hemisphere, it looks kind of like a cookie. I'll click on this one and then go over to the canvas, and now I can draw my shape. So here you can kind of see a cookie taking shape. Now, if I drag down, you can see that it pulls the hemisphere down, but that doesn't really look like a cookie, so I'm not going to go that far down. I want it to be just about there. That looks like a nice cookie shape. Once I release the shape, you see all these different controls appear around it, and these allow me to rotate and adjust the shape in the 3D environment. So here, for example, if I click here I can adjust the x-axis. I could also go to the bottom, and this allows me to adjust the y-axis, And here at the top, I can adjust the Z axis. So this allows me to just rotate my objects in this 3D environment. Also, over on the left-hand side, here I can adjust the Z axis position. So when I click on that, I could pull it forward, or here I could push it back. There now it's behind the canvas. So I'll just pull it up and leave it here. Now, right up in the top right-hand corner, let's say I make changes to one of these shapes, and I didn't really mean to do that. I can go up to the top and I can click on history. And here I could go back to the very beginning if I go back to the beginning, or I could just go back a little bit. Now I want to go back right to here before I started moving the shape around. Now, if I click down, I have my shape on the canvas. To start building my chocolate chip cookie, I want to build it in a way where I can match it to this photo. So once again, I'll click on the cookie, and here I'm going to adjust the X rotation, and I'll adjust it to 90 degrees. So this is a top-down view of my cookie. And here I'll pull it over to the side, and I'll keep it right over here so I can see the photo of the cookie right alongside my 3D object. I want my cookie to look like this photo, and to do that, I want to paint on the cookie. Right up here where we have all of our tools, once again, these are the different tool categories. There's one called brushes. Let's click into this one. Once we click into brushes, this opens up a pane over on the right-hand side with all of the different brush tools. First, I want the edges of my 3D cookie to match the photo. And you can see here on the cookie, the edges are a little bit darker than the center. Here, the brown's just a tiny bit darker. Just like we did before for the color, I'll click over on this eyedropper, and then I'll go over and I'll select this darker brown color. Here now you see I have this darker brown color selected. Now right up here, I have all of these different brush tools. I'm going to click on the spray can. When I select the spray can, here I can choose the size or the thickness. And right down here, I can also set the opacity. I'm going to leave these set to the default. I think they're fine for now. Now I can go around my cookie and I can start darkening the edges. So here it's going to look like this cookie that was cooked just the perfect amount of time. So I'll just kind of brush in this color as I go around. Also, if you notice the photo, there are some darker spots on the cookie. So here I'll just add a few nice little dark colors to my cookie. So here you see it starts to add a little bit more texturing. Also on the cookie itself, there are also some lighter spots on the cookie. And I want to make sure that my 3D cookie reflects that. Once again, I'll go down to the eyedropper and let me select this lighter shade right here. And then once again, also using the spray can here, I'll sprinkle in some of these lighter shades onto my cookie. So once again, this all kind of adds to that texture of the cookie. This is starting to look pretty good. As I'm painting my shape, one thing you'll notice is this icon appears on the bottom, and this is the free rotation handle. If I click on this, I can once again rotate my shape in any direction. You'll see that the bottom is untouched. I haven't been painting that, but that's fine. This is going to be sitting on a baking sheet, so it doesn't matter what the bottom looks like. For now, we'll just focus on the top of the cookie. I'm going to undo this just so it gets back to the default orientation. So far, we have a nice sugar cookie, but we want to make sure that there's some chocolate chips in this cookie. So once again, we need to add some more 3D shapes. Let's go up to the top bar and click on 3D shapes. Once again, this opens the 3D shapes pane, and we have all of the different objects that we can insert. This time, I want to use a 3D doodle, and there are a few different types of doodles that we can insert. Feel free to play around with these to see how they work. Now, I want to insert a tube brush, so I'll select this first option. Right down here, I can choose the shape of the tube, and there are a whole bunch of different options, but I just want to go with this first one, which is called the capsule. Right here, I can choose the thickness. I'm going to leave it set to the 60 pixels. And right down here, I can choose the taper. So here you could have none. Here I can have it go from big to small. Here you can have it go from small to big. For a chocolate chip, I want it to be big to small. If you've ever seen a chocolate chip, and we can even see right here in the picture, the base is a little bit bigger than the top. So I think this big to small will be perfect. Now, right now I have my color set to the cookie color, and I don't want that color. I want it to match the color of this chocolate chip. So once again, let's go down to the color picker, and I'll go over here and choose this nice, delicious looking chocolate brown. So now I have that color selected, I have my tool selected, and now I can draw my chocolate chip. To draw the chocolate chip, I'll simply click on the screen and then pull upwards, and then I'll release. So it's pretty quick and easy. I'll click on this check mark, and I'm satisfied with that. Here you see this kind of looks like a chocolate chip. It has that bigger base, and then it kind of gets smaller near the top. Now, just like with all 3D objects, once again, I have access to all of these different tools. So here I can rotate my chocolate chip. Now I want to place the chocolate chip on this cookie. And you'll see that right now, this is the top-down view of the cookie. So I want to make sure that my chocolate chip is also in the top-down view position. So here I'll press the shift key, and this allows me to really get it to the precise degrees. So here you'll see by default, it was at 90 degrees, but here if I press shift, here I'll click on the rotation tool, and then I'll rotate right until I hit 90 degrees. So that's going to match the 90 degrees of the cookie. So here now I have my chocolate chip, and I can pull it over onto my cookie. Now I'm not quite sure if it's on the cookie right now. To check the view, I can go up here to the top and click on the 3D view. Let's click on this to toggle to the 3D view. The chocolate chip looks like it's on there pretty nicely, but let's go back to the previous view. Right here, I can click on the Z-axis position. So here I can move the chocolate chip back. So here it's behind the cookie. And here I could pull it forward so it just pops through the cookie. Now I want it to be really integrated into the cookie. So here I'll place it right about there. So it's just popping out of the cookie. Now this wouldn't be a very good chocolate chip cookie if I only had one chocolate chip. So I'm going to copy this. I'll simply click this object, press Control-C, and then I can press Control-V, and that gives me another chocolate chip. And here I can move this to a different position of my cookie. Now here it's sticking out a little bit more because remember the cookie goes down towards the edges. So here I'll adjust the position and let me move this back just a tiny bit. And here I could even adjust the rotation just a tiny bit, just so it's popping out over there. Now I'm going to go through and I'll copy and paste even more cookies, or chocolate chips. So here I'll copy another one and let me move it right to about there. And I'll do this a bunch of times. So we have a bunch of chocolate on this cookie. I've now added a whole bunch of chocolate chips to my cookie. And as I was placing them, I would click on them and I'd rotate them a little bit, depending on which side of the cookie they were on. Here it kind of tapers down towards the edge over here. So here I rotated it so it would point in the same direction. Now I have all of my chocolate chips on the cookie, but the coloring doesn't really look that good. If we look over at these chocolate chips, you'll notice there's a little bit of lighting hitting these chocolate chips. And I want something similar on mine. So once again, just like we did before, to add this different coloring to the cookie, let's go back over to brushes up on the top. And right over here, once again, we have all these different tools. And I'm going to click on this one called watercolor. And I want to apply this white lighting to all of my chocolate chips. So here I'll go down to the color picker and let me choose this lighter shade right there. Now with the watercolor tool selected, here I can paint on, but right now by default, the thickness is a little bigger than I want it. So I'm going to reduce this down. So it's just a nice small little shape. And here now I can apply some coloring. So look at that. It looks like there's light hitting that chocolate chip right in that position. I'll go through and I'll color my different chocolate chips and feel free to do the same. All right, this chocolate chip cookie is starting to look pretty good to me. Next, I want to create multiple chocolate chip cookies. So to select this whole cookie, let's go back up to the top and click on 3D shapes. Now that I'm on the 3D shapes view, I can highlight this cookie. So here I'll select the entire thing. Now, right now, each individual item within this cookie is its own separate object. So all of these chocolate chips are an object, and then the cookie itself is an object. I want to group them all together and just treat it as one object. Now that I've selected this entire item, over on the right-hand side, once I have this item selected, I can group all of these. So here I'll click on group. And now here, if I click over here, it'll select the entire object and all of the chocolate chips. So here, if I rotate it, it'll simply rotate everything together. That's exactly what I want. Here, I'll zoom out just a little bit. Here, I'll move my mouse wheel and that'll zoom me out of the scene a little bit. Now, once again, just like in the intro, I had 3 cookies on the baking sheet. So I want to duplicate these cookies. And it's pretty easy to do that. I don't have to recreate more cookies. Here, I'm going to move this one a little bit over to the side. Here, once I have this object selected, I'll press Control-C to copy, and then I can press Control-V, and that'll paste it. So here now I have another chocolate chip cookie. And maybe here I'll just rotate it just a little bit. So the last thing you want is for everything to just look uniform and consistent. You want it to look a little bit different. So that rotation will help a little bit with that. Once again, I'll select this first object. I'll press Control-C, Control-V, and that pastes another chocolate chip cookie. And here I'll put that right over here. And here too, I'll just rotate it a little bit, just once again, so everything doesn't look so uniform. Now, if I wanted to, I could also move some of the chocolate chips around just to make them look a little different. But I think the rotation alone makes it look pretty good and they don't all look the same. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm now done working with the cookies and I no longer need this reference photo. Now I could highlight this photo, and once that's selected, I can press the delete key on my keyboard and that'll wipe it out. And I now have a blank canvas again. But I am mainly working in 3D and I don't need this canvas over on the side. So right up on top where I have all my tools, I can click on canvas, and right here, I can decide to not show the canvas. So right now, here I am just working in my 3D environment. Next, I want to place these 3 cookies on a baking sheet. So once again, just like we did before, we want to insert a 3D shape. Let's go back to the top and click on 3D shapes. Now over here, there are a whole bunch of different types of 3D objects, and the closest one to a baking sheet is a cube. A baking sheet's a rectangular object, and this is a cube. So let's start with this and see if we can get it down to looking like a baking sheet. Here, I'll click on this object and I'll simply drag it so it appears over the cookies. So the size is going to be just a little bit bigger than the 3 cookies, and then I'll let go. Now, one of the things you'll notice is it's a cube. So when I go around here, you'll notice that it's pretty thick in back, and I want to reduce that. So right up here, I have these borders around the shape, and here I can drag down the depth of this shape. And here I want to make it so it's just about flat. So I'll go right down to there. Now I can rotate it because I want this to appear behind my cookies, and I'll bring it up to 90 degrees, and then I'll place it right here behind the cookies. And one of the things you'll notice is the cookies are actually sitting through the cube, and I don't want that. I want this cube or the rectangular baking sheet to be just behind the cookies. So over here, I can choose the Z-axis position. So here you'll see that I can move it behind the cookies. I can move it in front of the cookies, but I want the cookies to just be sitting on this sheet. So here I'll pull it just about there, and it looks like the cookies are sitting on it exactly. To verify, I could go up to 3D view, and here I can see the cookies truly are sitting directly on it. Now that looks pretty good. Now right now I have a baking sheet, but it doesn't really look like a baking sheet. I want to give it a texture that aligns with what a baking sheet typically looks like. Here I'm going to pull my shape over, and next I want to apply a sticker. Right up on top, there's an option called stickers. Let's click on that, and here we'll see all of these preset textures, but I can choose whatever texture I want. Right up here, I can click on this smiley face and we see different stickers I could insert, or here, if I click on this folder icon, I can add my own. I'm going to add my own sticker. Here on my desktop, I have a top-down photo of a baking sheet. So this will give me the texture to apply to my baking sheet. Feel free to go online and search for just a photo of a baking sheet and then bring that in. Here I'll click on this, and now I've inserted this sticker. Now here you see the baking sheet is a lot smaller than the actual shape. So here I'm going to bring it up to the top corner, and then I'll expand it quite a bit so it fills up the entire cube area. Here I'll place it right about here. So you see this nice color or texture from the baking sheet is now applied to my cube. That looks pretty good, so I'll click on the check mark. Now that I have my baking sheet all set up, I can click on this object, and here I'll pull it under my cookies. So now you have all of my cookies sitting on top of a baking sheet. This is looking pretty good. Now that I have the baking sheet sitting behind the cookies, I'll highlight this entire object, and let's select that. And here I'll go over and I'll group all of these together. So the baking sheet and the cookies will all be part of the same group. And here now I can rotate it, and let me bring it so it sits down on the base. So here I'll bring it all the way down, and here it's sitting on the floor. Here you see a little bit of color markation on the screen. This indicates that it's on the bottom. And here, even as you drag the item down, you'll notice that it lands on this surface right at about here. Now I could bring it even lower, but I'm going to place it right here on the base. This way, especially as I bring in the milk and other objects, I'll be able to align them all on the same plane here. Now, right now, as I look at this image, it looks like the baking sheet's a little bit thick. Now, right now, this is one group of objects. I could simply select this entire thing, and here I could adjust how thick it appears. So I'm going to adjust this. It'll make the cookies a little bit thinner, but I think that's fine. I think that looks good. And here I'll just adjust it a little bit more so the baking sheet's a little bit thinner. And here, once again, I'll pull this down so it sits right on the base. Next, I want to insert a container of milk to appear alongside my cookies. For this one, instead of building it out, let's see what's available in the 3D library. Right up here, I'll click on 3D library, and let's search for milk to see what shows up. Once I type in milk, here I see this half pint of milk. I'll click on this object, and that'll bring it into my scene. Now it's inserted this object, and I can now position it around. Here I'll jump into the 3D view so I could find a good position for it. Now, if I want to drop it down, here I can bring it down, and here it's sitting on the base. So I'll bring it down to the base so it sits alongside the cookies, and then here I can move it back just a little bit. So here you notice the plane moving back. I also want to rotate the milk so it kind of sits at an angle to the cookies. I think that looks pretty good. Here I could toggle between the 3D view and the 2D view, and here I could see that they're all sitting on that same plane. Here I'll jump back to the 3D view. Now I did mention that we now have branded milk at the Kevin Cookie Company. So I want to insert my logo on this container of milk. To do this, just like we did with the baking sheet, we're going to use stickers to pull this off. Right up here, I'll click on Add Sticker. I've now added a sticker for the Kevin Cookie Company, and you can see that right here. If you want to use this logo in your 3D scene that you're building out, I've included a link to it in the description of this video. Here, I'll click on the sticker and it just throws it directly onto my baking sheet. Now, I don't want the logo there, so I'll select this object and I'm going to move it over to the milk. Now, one of the really cool things that you can see here, and let me zoom in a little bit just so you can see this a little better. As I move the logo around, you'll notice how it conforms to the shape that I'm putting it on. So that's pretty cool how it does that. So here I can put the logo up on top, or I could put it down on the side of the milk. I'll adjust the sizing just a little bit so it appears here on the side of the milk. I think that's a pretty good position. I'll click on this check mark. Also, I want to put a logo on the other side of the milk. So let me click on the milk container, and here I'm going to rotate it around. Now that I have the other side of the milk visible, I'll click on this sticker once again. Here I see it appear on my canvas, and I'll drag it over. Here again, I'll adjust the size, and let me position it right here. Now, if I wanted to insert another logo, I could also click on this stamp tool. When I click on the stamp, that puts in another copy of the logo, and then I can position it wherever else I want. But I don't need another logo on here, so I'll simply remove that. Now that I have the logo in place, I want to rotate the milk again. Here, I'll go back over to 3D shapes. Let me select the milk container, and then I'll go ahead and let's rotate it again so it appears this way. So I think that's pretty good. Next, I want to insert the Kevin Cookie Company URL on the milk container. And to do that, we're going to use 2D shapes. Right up on top, let's click on 2D shapes. And first, I want to insert a container for the text. So over here, I could insert all these different shapes. And just like we could do with the sticker, here I could draw a shape on the milk container. And that's going to conform to the object that we're putting it on. Now, I don't want to insert a circle. Instead, I want to put this rounded square on the container. And I'll put it right here near the bottom. So I'm going to draw my shape right here. And keep in mind, this is where the URL will go. Now, right up here, I could select a fill. I'm going to click on this, and let's go with this dark red that kind of matches the red on the milk container. I don't need a line around it. So here I'll click over here and select none. Now this looks pretty good. Let me move it right towards the bottom, and I'll extend it just a little bit. So I'll have it use up the width of most of the milk carton. Now that position looks pretty good to me. So I'll click on OK. Next, I want to insert some text so it appears on this milk carton. Now I'm going to leave the 2D view for just a moment. And once again, let's click back onto Canvas and let's click on Show Canvas. I've now turned the canvas back on, and I want the canvas to match my dark red that I have over here. Let's go over and click on brushes. Let's go down to the paint bucket, and over here, I'll select the same dark red color. Over here now, I'll paste it on the canvas, so the canvas now matches this rounded square. Right up here, let's click on text, and I want this to be white text, so I'll click on white. I'll leave the font set to SCG UI. I think that's fine. Right up here, you have two different types of text that you could insert. You could insert 2D text or 3D text. Now, I just want this to be 2D text. It's going to sit on this surface, but keep in mind, you can also insert 3D text. Here, I'll click on the canvas and let's type in kevincookie.com. I've inserted the text. I'm going to go and just align it and then expand it just a little bit so the full text appears on the canvas. I'm going to highlight this and just reduce the font size just a little bit so it fits in right there. I think that looks pretty good, so I'll click away, and that now pastes the text on the canvas. Now, one thing to keep in mind, once you paste text, it's locked in place. So I can't go back and select this text again. So if for whatever reason I'm unsatisfied with this text, I can either go back up to history and go back to a previous step, or I can highlight this and then delete it and then start again. But unfortunately, you can't go back and edit text. Next, I'm going to highlight this text. So I'm going to add a rectangle around it. And once I have it selected, I'm going to make that a sticker. So let's click on Make Sticker. Right now, I have a sticker in place, and I could drag it over and I could place this on the milk carton. Here, I'll adjust it and let me reduce the size so it just fits into this rectangle. And I think it'll help if I zoom in just a little bit to make sure that I position it properly. Here, I place it right in that area, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'll click on the check mark. Next, let's jump back to the 3D view. And now here you can see my milk carton with my text appearing on the carton. That looks pretty good. Now the scene is coming together pretty nicely. However, I want to center all of these different items in the middle of this 3D view. Here, I'll zoom out just a little bit and I'll select all of my different 3D objects. Right here now, I can move these so they appear right in the center near the canvas. That's a pretty good position. Next, I'm going to turn off the canvas again. I could go up here, click on canvas, and then I'll turn off or toggle off show canvas. Once again, I can enter the 3D view, and this is looking pretty good. I have some pretty good looking cookies. I have my baking sheet, and I have my carton of milk. The scene is coming together very nicely now, and I think we're pretty much done building out the scene. However, I do want to show you a few different ways how you can visualize your scene. Right up on top, if we click on effects, you can apply different filters to your scene. Right now it's set to the default filter, but here I can apply different colors. So here's lavender, or I can apply tan. So you can see how it affects what your image looks like. I'm going to go back to default. Down below, you also have something called the light wheel. And here you can adjust how the light hits your 3D scene. So here you can have the lighting so it's more behind the scene. Here I could adjust it. So here it's shining right at the milk. So this one looks pretty good. The cookies look pretty vibrant and the carton looks pretty good. So I'll stick with this positioning for the light. Now, once I'm all done building out my scene and setting the lighting, I'm going to go up to the top left-hand corner and click on menu. Now within menu, I have a bunch of different options, but first off, I want to save my project. So I could go down to save as. I have a few different options. I could save it as an image, a 3D model, a video, or a Paint 3D project. If I want to come back at some, let's say later point, and I want to edit this project again, this will maintain its original format. So first, let's save it as a Paint 3D project. Once you finish typing in a name for your project, click on Save in Paint 3D. Now that I've saved my project, I can once again come back and I can edit this scene whenever I want. Let's once again go up to menu, and within menu, go down to Save As. Over here, once again, if I want to bring this into, let's say, Microsoft PowerPoint or some other application, I can save this as a 3D model. Let's also do that because I want to show you how you can bring this into PowerPoint. This opens up a file prompt, and here I could type in a file name. I'll simply call this the Kevin Cookie Company scene, and then I'll save it here. Right down below, you have different formats that you could save it as. You have GLB, FBX, and 3MF. These are all different formats, so depending on where you want to bring this in, you can choose the appropriate format. Now, you could just save it as this standard format, and this will work in PowerPoint. Next, let's click on Save. We've now saved it in a format that'll work in PowerPoint as well as other applications. Once again, let's go up to menu, and this time, once again, let's go to Save As, but let's click on Video. I want to show you how you could also export this as a video. When I click on video, here we see the video playing, and we can choose what format we want to save it as. So here I have an MP4 video selected. You can choose the size. Down below, you also have some additional video settings. You could choose the frame rate, the quality. I'll leave all of those set to the default. And down below, this is fun. You can also set the animation. Right now, this is set to a turntable, but here you could have it swing. You could also have it jump and turn, wobble, emerge, and also hover. So you can apply all these different cool effects. And then you can integrate these into other videos that you're pulling together. So it's a neat way to incorporate some 3D into different videos. Once you're all done selecting these different options, click on Save. I mentioned earlier that you can also bring your 3D model into Microsoft PowerPoint, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with 3D rotations. Here I have a deck for the Kevin Cookie Company. And right here, I want to announce that we now offer the Kevin Cookie Company cookies together with milk. And I think a 3D image can really help with this. Right up on the top ribbon, let's click on Insert. And right over here, there's the option to insert a 3D model. When we click on this, you have stock 3D models, or we could insert a 3D model from our device. Let's click on this device. This opens up the file picker and simply navigate to where you saved your 3D scene. I'll select mine and then click on Insert. This has now inserted the 3D model onto my slide, and by default, it just puts it down with this cross-section view. Now, when I have this object selected, up above on the ribbon, I see an option for a 3D model, and I have all these different controls for the 3D models. And this one right here is neat. It has different 3D model views. When I click on this here, I can adjust the view. So maybe I want to go with this more top-down view. Along with simply selecting 3D model views up here, I can also use this to adjust the rotation of my image. So here I could go with a nice top-down view, and let me expand this a little bit. I want this to be a more prominent part of my slide. I think this position looks pretty nice. Now, I want the next slide to have the same photo, but I want it to focus more on the milk. So here I'll take this slide, I'll copy by pressing Control-C, and then I'll paste in the slide again. Once again, I'll go down and click on this image, and maybe I'm going to have it rotate around here to really just focus on the milk. Along with rotating, I'll expand the size a little bit too. So here it really focuses on this milk container because that's our new product that we have now. Next, I'll highlight these two different slides. And if I go up to the top bar and click on transitions, here I can click on a morph transition. So let me jump into presentation mode and let's see what this looks like. I'm now in presentation mode, and here you see my slide with this 3D image. If I click onto the next slide, you'll see the nice rotation and it focuses on the milk container. So check that out. You can really elevate your game with your PowerPoint presentations by bringing in some 3D imagery. And especially with the morph transition, it makes it possible to do these awesome 3D rotations. All right, well, that's how you can get started creating using Paint 3D. If you were able to create an awesome looking 3D object, feel free to link to it down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. To see more videos like this in the future, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to see me cover any other topics on this channel, leave a note down below. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Well, everyone, you all ready to go out and make something amazing? Yes, Will.
Yeah, that's a lot more complicated than I'm ever going to want to do. But I'd like to show you some really simple thing that I did with it in a 2D version. Take about 3 minutes. Can I do that?
Sure.
I need to share.
Well, wait a
screen.
minute. Let's see what Saul has to say first.
Okay.
Will can go ahead and do what he wants.
All right. Go, Will.
Okay, it's only going to take, just a couple of minutes. I need to share the screen to do that. There we are. Okay, I'm into the 3D. Can everybody see that now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to click on new, and on new, I'm going to go select a photograph that I have. And what I want to do is show you how I put a red ring around a portion of the well, let's get select I don't know why it's not. I gotta go to. Okay, here's what I end up with. Let's see if it's showing. It's loading at this point. Very slowly.
I imagine these file sizes are appreciable.
Okay, here's what I ended up with. I just took a picture of our cat and put a red ring around it. But I wanted to show you how I did that. It's really pretty simple to do. Let me undo that. And I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to go back and trying to select a photograph. Okay, we'll open.
Or maybe you need to
And my
insert.
system is running very slowly. I guess I'm not going to show it. Let me
computer found.
let me revert back to I'll get rid of the screen sharing. Anyway, my point is that it's really easy to do. I went into the 2D version and just selected a circle, sized it, colored it, and moved it into place. And the same thing for an arrow, just grab an arrow and modify it to whatever size, shape, and you can put it into the photographs very easily. Took me it took me longer because I was learning how to do it. But right now, if my computer were working well, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes. So the 2D version is probably what I'll be working in if I work in it at all. But it's pretty intuitive. Takes a little bit of learning, but not much. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to do any graphics at all, take a look at this Paint 3D. It's a great program, comes with Windows 10, and it has a lot of features.
Do we have other comments and questions on this presentation? Saul, yours is, go.
So since Will already acknowledged that this is way overkill for what he wanted to do, my question would be, why didn't you just use the regular Paint in Windows instead of the Paint 3D? I imagine it could do exactly what you wanted.
I'm sorry, what was it? What program did you say?
Paint, the original Paint. I think it's still in Windows 10.
Yes, it is. It's under Windows accessories.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't look at that. I saw this 3D and I said, oh, that must be the upgrade.
Okay, and the only other comment I have related to Sammy's question is on the Mac, there's this sort of Swiss Army knife app that comes with it called Preview, which does all sorts of things. And even Preview can do a simple two-dimensional annotation like what Will was trying to do in Windows. You can do circles, lines. I could share my screen. I don't think I need to show you, but the one difference I will make is it's not equivalent to Paint 3D. It's not a three-dimensional drawing program. And you don't start with a blank canvas. You start with exactly what Will started with, some document, a graphic, okay? And then you annotate it. So you can use Preview to do that.
And why do I want to do that? What?
You probably don't, okay?
Okay, thank you.
The point is, it's there if you need to use it, which a wonderful set of tools that Windows has.
Okay, I think that's it on Paint 3D. Let's move on to Q&A. Who wants to put their hand up besides me? All right.
Looks like you're the one.
I'll start. My problem is my old ears and my hearing aids that need to go back to my audiologist and get recalibrated. So for most Saturday mornings, I have been putting a set of earphones on like that. And I have a stereo plug that plugs into the stereo socket on the side of my laptop. And in the past, when I plugged that in, the sound stopped coming out of my speakers and started coming out of the headphones until this morning. When I plug it in, nothing happens. Anyone know what I've changed?
So you can go to the control panel, go to sound, and then you can go to speakers and see which speakers are being used. Sometimes the computer gets confused as to say, this is I see you have more than one device, but it chooses the wrong one. So you have to go in manually and then set that.
So you're saying go into control panel.
Sounds.
Control panel.
Yes.
And then sound.
Yes.
Sound. Here we are, sound, yes. And then, oh my.
And you have the first panel that comes up, it says playback. And it shows you speaker, mine shows me speakers and it's got a check mark there. Also a second one that says speakers and then audio in my monitor. So you have to make sure that you're plugged in. It's using the default device as your headphones.
Well, what I see when I go there is speakers/headphones.
Okay.
And I have clicked on that and I have clicked OK. And now I am, say something, Ross.
Hello, hello, hello.
Doesn't work. It does not shift when I plug it in.
If it does not shift when it, does it make any change when you unplug and plug the headphones in?
No,
Then
none.
your computer's not detecting the headphones for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Some of those headphones have a mute switch in them also in line. And you have to
No.
make sure.
There's no switch at all in the headphones. You know, some of them are headphones and microphones, and there are switches and other things. This is just a plain set of headphones.
Hank, does that set of headphones work on other devices? Can you like plug it into your phone or your MP3 player, and does it work on those?
Don't know. I'll try that some other time. But what I'm really annoyed at is my laptop is not detecting that process of plugging in and shifting from one to the other.
So as David suggested, you need to make sure that device is still working. Your headphones.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I need to try it on my cell phone.
Saul has a comment.
Yeah, I was replacing some items on Stan's laptop, and I was testing all the external ports when I got done to make sure it was all still working. And the only thing that didn't work was the headphone jack. And the solution to that was I went into the device manager, I deleted the driver, I restarted it, Windows installed apparently a better working driver, and it fixed it.
Yeah.
So you might try just deleting the driver in the device manager under the sound section and let Windows try again.
In general, when I'm buying a headset or speakers, I try to find ones that are connected by USB versus just the audio connector. Because in that cable that goes to the speaker and or headphone is a little sound card. So it's replacing the sound card that's in the computer, and I have better luck with that, getting things to work.
Oh, joy.
Well, they're $20, $30. You don't need $100 device.
But Fry's went out of business, so I have no place to go.
I thought you said you had Amazon Prime, sir.
I do.
Okay.
I have free delivery.
All right. Another thing that we did many years ago, my wife's hearing is fairly compromised at this point, and trying to get her to be able to hear what's coming from our television. I put a sound bar, an inexpensive sound bar, in front of the television. Most TVs have rear facing speakers, and then they bounce the sound off the wall and it muddles it for her. So by putting an inexpensive sound bar, and you could do the same thing on your computer, is you buy an inexpensive sound bar and use that for the sound instead of the speakers that are inside and or headset. That's another option.
Thank you. And the other thing that I've used in the past for sound from a television set, this was back in the days with the former wife who liked to watch television late at night in bed, and I like to sleep in bed. So I found a device that You could plug into the TV and turn the speaker off of the TV and turn the headphones on. Okay, that's probably more than enough on my problem. Hello, Mr. Stanley. You're muted, Stanley. Stanley, you're muted.
Sorry. About the legibility of audible speakers, I thought the speaker in your presentation was excellent in a couple of ways. To my ear, his voice quality was very legible. And the speed of the presentation seemed to be about as fast as I was be comfortable in. And I suspect it was perhaps a little faster than he normally speaks. I don't know, but it was a pretty brisk pace. And I think we need to remember that the pace of the playback does not really affect the legibility of the audio as much as we think. It's the more in the clarity of the voice. And I thought it was particularly good. I thought it was particularly easy. And again, that may be my Bluetooth, but so I don't know. The other thing I'd like to point out is the transcript is available for downloading. And I sort of would like you all to get, or I don't care whether you do it or not. Anyway, for Alice's benefit, I would like her to click to view the transcript and save the transcript and see how that goes. I will continue to save the transcript and send it to her by email. But while we're not doing a board meeting, I would just like to have Alice and anybody else who would like to have a copy of the transcript to see how the download works. If you're viewing the transcript, at the bottom of the transcript page, it says Save Transcript. And you simply need to click on that, and it will, when you click on it, it will come up with a prompt that says Show in Folder. And then it shows you that the folder, it shows you where that transcript was saved. If you click on that Show in Folder, but I'm repeating myself, it shows you where the transcript was saved. So that is a.
I don't see that, Stanley. Stanley, when I click on CC down below, I do not see where it says save the transcript or.
Okay, well, first you have to be viewing the full transcript. You have to be viewing the full transcript. And if you're viewing the full transcript, it takes up a portion of your screen. And then in the bottom of that transcript window, there's a box that says Save Transcript.
Got it.
And so I believe, I may be wrong about the Zoom procedure here, but you must already have been viewing or having the transcript show on your screen. And once it is showing on your screen, you'll have a window at the bottom that says Save Transcript.
Yep.
In answer to your question, as far as my receiving them, I save them all in the SCG file that I have. But as far as the minutes are concerned, the one thing with that transcript is I find it extremely tedious because it records every single word that's said. So when I'm doing the minutes, what I do is I mark down whenever there's something being that I want to refer to, I just put down what time it is. And then I can go back and find it exactly where I need it. But as far as if I weren't doing the minutes, I don't know that I'd even bother because it is tedious to read through. It does have everything on there. It keeps every single word.
I agree. Thank you. That's exactly it. Most people don't have any interest in viewing what was said. But I want to be sure that Alice can download and save it. And I will cover her by that, by doing the same thing. And I will have a copy of it and can send her the transcript as an attachment to an email. Will?
Yeah, I'm running these subtitles or the transcript, but I don't see where it says to save it anywhere.
Okay, the transcript is different from the closed captioning. The closed captioning is a small window that the stuff appears and then disappears very quickly as new stuff replaces it. The transcript is a continuous recording of everything that's being said. So, Will, if you're seeing just the captioning in a small window, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the transcript.
So how do you get to the transcript?
Question, please. Will, go down where the CC is, and there's a little caret to the right of the CC. Click on that caret, and one of the options after this click on the caret is view full transcript.
Just to clarify, only the host gets the caret. Everybody else just uses the regular button to do exactly what Hank described.
Okay. But somewhere you get to view full transcript, and when you click that, then you get a whole new window that says transcript, and down at the bottom there's a box that allows you to save the transcript, and you will save a file up to the time when you save the transcript. And that file is huge.
Well, it's a text file, so it's actually not very big.
I don't mean it's huge in file size, but when you look at it, it has line after line after line after line after line.
And it just tells us how many words we actually speak during one of these meetings.
Yammer, yammer, yammer. Mr. Stanley.
That concludes my observation.
Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, I plan to buy a headset, including microphone and headphones. I presume you plug that into a USB port. Is that right, Ross?
I think that's what Ross said.
So there are two kinds. There are one that have the green and or red connector on them, the green being for the speakers, red being for the microphone, and you have a comparable connection on your computer / laptop, a red or a green one. That's the standard audio line in, line out. You can also get ones that have just a USB connector on it. They may be a few dollars more, but in that cable, in that setting for the headset, there is a sound card. So it replaces the sound card in your system with this one that's there. So if I'm having trouble with sound, getting to a new sound card solves a lot of problems for me. And it is, again, generally very inexpensive. As a brand, Logitech has been good over the years for once. To say I would buy a one from Logitech for $50, if Amazon had one that a lot of people like for $15, I would probably buy the one from Amazon for $15.
Okay, thanks very much.
And there's a third type of connection, which is the one I have on my headphones that are not doing what they should these days. And that is the little stereo pin that's about 3/4 of an inch long and a 1/16 of an inch in diameter.
Yes, that's the standard audio in, audio out connectors.
Yeah. It's a 1/8 inch diameter
Right.
one I'm showing on my screen there.
Yeah, you're right. It's bigger than a 16th. Okay, Sal.
Well, since Sam was providing feedback on the video today, I would just say that it's the clearest video I've seen that you've done. So I don't know if you've changed anything on your end, but it really came through very clear.
You're talking about the YouTube video that I played.
Yes, that was
Correct.
much better than we have seen in the past.
That's interesting. I have not changed anything.
That guy is a very good
Presenter.
speaker. He does a great presentation, and we've seen several by him.
I will look for other things. I'm still very badly in need of suggestions for presentations. And what I'll do is go to his channel and maybe subscribe to that, or at least look for some others from him on other subjects that we might find interesting.
Yeah, Kevin Strivert is pretty much Windows, Microsoft specific, which is fine for most of us. We need a similar speaker that can do things in Apple land as well.
Yeah.
Or just cross-platform software.
All the folks on here who run Apples or Macs, you really should do some special searching for yourselves, because I can't and won't since I don't have an Apple Mac. But it needs to be done for our presentations. Yes, Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, on a slightly different subject, I heard that dental implants are now covered by Medicare. Does anybody else know that? I haven't verified it yet. I just heard it. But if that's true, that's a huge amount of money.
That would be amazing. I paid for my grandson's dental implants. He was in the hospital and having terrible spasms and broke all his teeth by clenching them while in the hospital and needed a whole new mouth.
My gosh.
And that cost $42,000.
I will say that what I'm finding at the center where I work, that we get that question, and you have to check with your any insurance. And Medicare is starting to cover more of that sort of thing, but just check with any insurance that you have. Some are covering it and some are not.
Thanks, Nicholas.
My guess, my guess on
what do you have for us, Dan?
I agree with you on implants. I've spent a lot of money and still working on mine. But one thing I wanted to suggest to the people here back in computers is the AARP bulletin for April. And it has a lot of good information on, it says, the bad guys, as far as trying to get your information from the computer and so on and so forth. And it is a lot better presentation than we have ever had, as far as getting into your computer and some of the scams that are out there.
And that is, what format is that in? This is a written document?
That's correct. It's the AARP bulletin. Comes out each month. This is the April edition.
If you will send me a link to that, I'm sure it's online and has a link. If you'll send me a link to that, I'll put it in our bits and bytes.
Let me show you the picture of it.
Well, the picture doesn't do me much good.
Oh, right, I got that.
Could anyone look and see if that is online somewhere? That's what I need to put it in our bits and bytes.
Well, it probably is somewhere.
I just had 2 implants put in on Thursday of this week. My lip's still swollen.
How was your wallet?
It hurts.
That's totally.
12,000.
Hey, you and I need to take our show on the road. I heard a few chuckles. All
I
right.
had great difficulty with mine also, so won't get into that.
Hank, I
Patricia.
put,
Oh, I just had a comment about the implants and Medicare covering it. And I remember back when I was working about 10, 15 years ago, a lot of our pharmacists came from South Africa. And she had a dental bill, covered by our company, Savon, and it was in the 40,000s. And she went back to South Africa and had it done for virtually free. So I think our medical system needs a little bit of a change.
We have
Shouldn't be that
the best
expensive.
health care in the world, but it's Barbara Wilkinson.
Yes, sticking with the implants. I had a quote several years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, from a dentist here in San Diego for, I think it was 15,000 just to do 2 implants. And I happened to see a notice in one of the local papers about Mexican in Tijuana dentist. So I checked into it, and I did go down to Tijuana. Their facilities were better than some that I had seen here in San Diego. And I had the implants done there for $3,000. And I used the same dentist for several years for my dental work and have been extremely satisfied with the work that they have done. Unfortunately, now with the COVID and the border stuff, I haven't been down there again, but I'm holding on and hoping I don't need any more until the border situation has been taken care of.
Can you share the name of the dentist?
Oh, shoot. He's right. And we used to just drive down to the border and walk across because he was within easy walking distance of the border. I'll look it up and let you know, Will.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that would be good to know, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Just look here.
David?
yeah, you were asking about the art bulletin. I put the link in the chat for Hank, but I'm just going to share my screen, and basically there's the bulletin there. Hopefully,
I've got your chat.
yeah. But I was just noticing up at the very top here.
If I can bring it up.
Yeah, up at the very top there, there's a little link about a evolving scams webinar on April 26th. You can click on that, and that might be interesting for someone to look at and attend, see what they say. I just clicked on that, and it says, stay safe from common scams. I think this would be a pretty interesting thing to have at least someone go and report back to us. That would be fine.
I'm sorry, I'm not. Come on.
Anyway, I did. Can people see that? And but that was just on,
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, that was just on the top banner of the aarp.org/bulletin page. And so that's one that's an easy way to find some things that are targeted towards the American Association of Retired People, but there's not necessarily American, you're not necessarily retired. So it's really the association of people. And that's all that I had to say.
I'm having a terrible trouble. I'll have to wait until after we finish this meeting to see whether that link goes, but the chat will still be there somewhere.
Computer phone.
Ross, you have your hand up.
Yes, on scams. I get calls, emails all the time from people saying, is this one real? It's telling me my account's going to be sent off. I have to send these people money. It's a McAfee antivirus. If you get any of those, assume that they're a scam. You need to go to your account. So one that yesterday that came in 3 different times from the same customer saying, they're telling me there's a problem to my AOL account. I need to pay them money. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it did not, the email did not come from AOL. So you can look at that and see where did it come from. And if, unless it says AOL.com, then it's a scam. But again, 99.99% of those things that come into you through a call, through an email, through regular mail, they're a scam. They're just trying to get your credit card in their hands. So if you're concerned about it, check with whomever that service is. So again, if they say there's a problem with your bank account, then you get in touch with your bank directly or credit card company or AOL directly and find out if there's really something that you need to do. And I have very rarely see any of those that are legitimate. They're mostly scams. So just don't be conned.
There's a very good general rule. Do not click on a link in any email unless you are absolutely sure that that email is really from the person it says it's from. David.
Actually, Dan's holding something up. Dan, can you tell us what you're holding up? Apparently not. I just want to say, just on the...
His sound is turned off.
Yeah.
I was showing my latest scam. It was someone trying to recover your password from Russia. And high importance. Instagram. Somebody stole my Instagram password. I don't even have an Instagram account. So.
They still want your credit card.
Yeah. I didn't think that.
Your credit card will work really well for them, even if you don't have an Instagram account.
I understand that.
Yeah, and maybe they'll buy one for you.
Ross. Ross Malloy, you have something you want to tell us?
Oh, nope, I just need to drop my hand. I'm sorry.
Okie doke.
Reactions?
David.
Yeah, just, in terms of scam stories, this last week, I got a email from one of the people that I know through the Shepherd Center saying that she wanted some help to do something. And I said, well, okay, fine. You just plan to come to one of my meetings at the Shepherd Center and we can do that then. And it was from an email address that I recognized. It was a request that actually made sense. And but I CC'd to Lisa, who runs the center, and she said, oh, don't worry, but that's a scam. I said, well, there was no links. I have not clicked on anything. I replied to say, come to this thing. And sure enough, a few hours later, another version comes and said, oh, I was trying to get a gift card for my niece, and it would be really so much helpful if you could do it. And I just said, okay, as soon as they ask to spend your money, it's a scam.
Right.
That AARP bulletin gets into that.
My latest one was the phone rang and I said, hello. And the voice said, hello, Grandpa.
Yeah, you told us that.
And I said, hi, Dennis. And he went through a very pleasant conversation on a couple of things for about a minute and a half before he said, I'm ashamed to tell you this, Grandpa, but I'm in jail. And when he said that, my alarm went off. And I said to him, what's your sister's name? And he hung up on me. Stanley.
I would just like to make the observation that as a group, this group here, the senior computer group, is probably far better well informed than any other group in the world about scams. We talk about it frequently. We're warned about it frequently. We're warned to back up our computers regularly. And I think what we hear is people addressing all those other people that are not as alert and wise as this esteemed group we have assembled today. Thank you.
All the heads on this view that I'm seeing are getting larger. They're swelling. They aren't going to break. Barbara.
You're muted.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just looked up that Tijuana dental place, and it's called the Dental Implant Center of the Americas. I did put it in chat, but it won't go to everybody, unfortunately. And I can give you they have a 619 phone number, 619-564-4269. And the dentist's name is, his last name is Vasquez, Vazquez. And, you know, the number of times I've been in their waiting room and people have come in that have flown in from Texas and all over the place to get stuff done with him primarily because of the price and the service and the quality of what he does. So I heartily recommend him, and I'm hoping the border situation clears up that I can go back to using him again. Anyway, there you go. Anybody needs it to know it can email me and I will be happy to send. My email is avidbarb@yahoo, AVIDBARB@yahoo. Okay, I think I've done my bit today. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Patricia?
Oh, I was gonna say, Barb, could you put your email address in the chat room? That wasn't what I wanted to say, but if they have an address, that would be nice too. If you put it in the chat, I think we can see it.
No.
Yeah, let me explain, intervene here, Barbara. I did just change the setting, so you should be able to now post to everyone.
Oh.
Oh, wow, okay. I just wanted to say that, you know, and I think Stan or Hank was saying that we're the esteemed group, et cetera, that won't get, you know, defrauded and scammed. I went to a lecture once where they said that we're the type that might get scanned because we are so confident that we won't be scanned. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
Well, my head's feeling much smaller now.
Yeah, don't trust anybody out there. That's what we're zero trust is what we're talking about for everything. It's you do not trust. You have to verify.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on Hank's thing about the grandpa call. I've gotten that a few times, and I don't allow him to say anything. As soon as I recognize it's a grandpa call, I say, "Oh, is that you, Bruce? Are you out of jail now? And how's your divorce going with your wife? And did you ever get your gonorrhea cured up?" And pretty soon they hang up very quickly. Anyway, second thing, back to the implant thing. I hear some dentists saying they will do it in one day, take it out, put it in one day, and other ones, like myself, it takes like a year to go through all the healing. Is it a function of how old you are as to whether they can do that or not? Does anybody know?
It's a function of your bone structure of your jaw. If you have good bone structure, then they can put them right in. I've had to have extra material placed in there to to grow around the implant.
Most people have to have.
Careful. Be careful, okay? You want to point your name?
Somebody's mute themselves, please. Yeah, thank you. I want to show you something about scams since we were on that subject. Wait a minute. Yeah, here we are. All right, I'm now sharing my screen. Here is an email that's in my spam folder, thank goodness. You see it says McAfee 2022 alert as the sender. Well, my email, thank goodness, shows me not just McAfee 2022 alert, it shows me the actual email address that came from. It came from admin@zambiaapproval.com. That is not McAfee. So always look, if you can, at the actual email address that has been sent to you on anything that asks you to do anything. And if it doesn't say the same over here that it says over here, don't click, don't read. Throw it away. Thank you. Next, Stanley.
Thank you, Hank. I would just respectfully request that you set the chat access right from the beginning of the meeting so that we can send a chat to everyone.
Sir. Yes, sir. That's one more thing that I should do every time I sign on here. That's only about 16 things, and I sometimes only do 15 of them. Patricia.
She walked away.
Yeah, she's not there.
I will try to assist with that, Hank.
What's that?
I will try to assist with the APCUG settings.
Yeah.
During the meeting.
Yep, you already do, and I thank you. I'm sometimes over there trying to get things done, and I seem to find myself one step behind you, which is not too bad. Hello, Patricia, you came back. Do you have something to say?
Oh, yeah, well, actually, yeah, well, okay, I'll start in the beginning. Well, when the Zambia thing kind of threw me off, you know, that's a country in Africa we're going to be going to in September, hopefully, but one of them anyway. But what I wanted to say is that I've been getting a lot of my fraudulent things from text messages now, and they are a little bit because I get text messages saying, you know, you spent money and all this kind of stuff. But some of them are coming through. They're obviously fraud, but they're coming through as texts. Thought I'd warn people if they haven't gotten
Your text messages on your cell phone, huh?
On my cell phone, yep. And I thought my cell phone was, you know, pretty clear, pretty clean.
Can you send a text message to anybody? Can anybody send a text message to you? Yes. So they're just saying, we're just going to say, here's the numbers that are being used by cell phones, and let's just send text messages there and see if we get anybody that bites.
Now, is there any way of, you know, like if you get a phone call, you can block it on your cell phone, like really easy. Is there a way of blocking the texts or not? I haven't figured out anything anyway yet.
So there's 611 on your cell phone that will take you technical support for your cell phone company. So it's dependent upon your phone and your cell phone service, how you block that number.
Okay.
There's no mo robo.
But not that doesn't work for text messages, sir. That only works for emails.
That's interesting.
Excuse me, for voicemails, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ross.
Patricia, I on my phone, I just went to my text app and there's the 3 little dots up the top there, and there's a thing here to say register spam number. So that would probably register that as a spam number and, you know, block it. But
do you
it's
have an
gonna, This was an Android phone. It's going to vary by phone, but there's usually some way of doing it.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
Dan, are you up?
Yes. I had a question, but I think I remember the answer. I ended up signed in twice. One is Dan Chromebox and one is Dan Eberhardt. I think I left my computer on downstairs when I came up here, and it's probably signed in.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on twice too, so I think, yeah, I'm still there, yeah.
That's good for our participant count.
Well, that's where my cell phone is, wherever that's at. I'm multitasking here, so I just drag my phone with me and then I can kind of keep up with everything here. But I prefer to be at the Mac, to tell you the truth.
Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, I'm a cell phone newbie. I have no idea how to run the damn thing. But anyway, I was trying to take a picture the other day in a hurry and brought it up and it was in selfie mode. And I was trying to get it into, direct opposite the selfie mode, whatever that's called. I couldn't figure out how in the world you do that. And I didn't see any instruction anywhere.
Can you lean a little closer to your microphone, please?
Yeah, can you hear me better now? You hear
Yeah,
me
I can
now?
hear you fine. Yeah, it's okay.
Not very.
You have a
Okay.
tad of an echo, that's all.
Okay. I
For
was
me,
going to say, I was trying to take a picture and it came up in selfie mode and I was trying to get out of selfie mode and I could see no instruction on how to do that. I finally got frustrated to swipe my fingers across the screen and it switched. Is that true for all the cell phones? You just swipe it and it changes the mode?
Yeah, usually
No,
there's a
no.
thing on there that says switch camera on there, and it'll have like a camera with an arrow or a circle or something. And that's
Okay.
usually what
I
switches.
discovered that just swiping my fingers down, a downstroke, it switched it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There's two arrows in a circle, that will do it.
On my cell phone, when you're in the picture mode, there are several controls. There's a zoom, there's a switch back and forth between the front lens and the back lens. There's one that I haven't figured out how I click this, but now when I take a picture, it counts down for 10 seconds before it clicks.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how to undo that.
Oh, well, both of you and, well, I think Hank can do it. You've got an address here, but you can, I'm taking a class. They'll probably have another one in the summer on devices at the San Diego Community College, and it's all free. Usually the devices are 5-week classes, 2 hours of, 2 hours each. You can check with that. Mary Burns is presenting it.
If I may, Ross offered the suggestion of 611 and call your phone provider and tell them what phone you have and they can walk you through any of these problems.
Unknown computer found.
The only problem is that they say there are 32 people ahead of me.
Barbara.
Call it another time, sir.
Go down it.
Barbara, you got something you want to say to us? You're muted.
I'm muted. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, Pat, I was checking, but I haven't found a date yet when Mary Burns is going to be back with her classes. But I did part of an Android one with her in the fall, and it was excellent. And I sure needed to get back with her on how to operate. And she does a separate course on the iPhone.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I've got an Android phone, but I primarily understand it for making phone calls or getting text messages. I haven't got into all the other stuff with it yet. So anyway, that's something to learn down the road. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Saul?
I'll just remind people that the San Diego Futures Foundation does have in-person classes at many libraries. You can go to their website and you can see what the schedule is. Alan Bugg, the librarian, has brought this up for the ones that are at his location, which I think are on Thursdays. And even if they cover a topic, if they have time afterward, you can do one-on-one and ask them about your smartphone or tablet or computer or whatever it is, and they can work with you. So if you don't want to take a 6-week course to learn how to switch the camera on your phone or turn off the delayed timer, as Hank brought up, you could just, if you have the ability to go there, I just find a location that has it and get it directly.
I was there yesterday at the Valencia Park Library, and they gave a very good presentation on PowerPoint. And I had, it was another good presentation, a lot of information on PowerPoint. So the Know Your Computer classes at the public library are very worthwhile.
I'm going to try the 611 for my 1098745. Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, Ross, several weeks ago, you gave me the name of your cable guy, and I wrote it down and misplaced it. Very quickly, do you recall his name or phone number or something?
How about if I email it to you?
Yeah, that'd be great. You have my email address? I'm sure you do. Or I'll send you.
How about if I email it to you?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, please.
Oh, Ross, could you put it in the chat window? Maybe I might need them at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is now 9:15 here in sunny Kailua. By the way, I think I will be back in San Diego in another 2 weeks. I think I have found a tenant here. It was really hard this year. Nobody likes to come to Hawaii anymore.
Well, those poor nobodies.
All right, all.
Do you still have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine before you're allowed on the island?
No, they've changed. They've taken off all their restrictions. Hawaii has. I found it surprising that there were not more people chafing at the bit to rent my house for 6 months. Okay, all. I think I will bid you aloha. See you next week.
Okay.
Think of something that you would like to have presented and send me an email, and I will stir around and search YouTube and try to provide it for you. But I need help in generating interesting presentations.
And before you end the meeting, Hank, just to remind Stan, if you wanted to save the transcript, this would be the time to do it.
Yes.
Thank you, Saul. And Hank, if I might make another respectful suggestion that you leave the meeting open until most people are gone. I find it a little hostile to be cut off from the meeting before. I realize you give us plenty of warning, but if you're not pressed to run off, I would appreciate it if you just leave the session open in case anybody wants to hang around and say nice words to you or something.
Well, I was just assigning a new host. His name is Stanley, and I'm going to assign Steve.